Hey, what's up, everybody? Today we're talking to Jason from Intelligent Service, and we're talking about running a plumbing shop that also does HVAC, doing $8 million a year from the Northwest Chicago area from Illinois. And how are we doing this? With sump pumps and tankless. Well, I'm not doing this. Let me introduce you guys to Jason. Jason, can you tell us, like, what year did this plumbing business start, and how long did it take you guys to get to the first million? And what was one of the best practices that you had to put forth for that?
Yeah, so Tony, I'll kind of run you through the whole thing quickly here. My father was a plumber. He started a company that did construction back in, let's just call it like 1979. He ran that company. After college, I went and worked for him, became a licensed plumber. And then for the guys who are older like me, you remember like the 08-09 crash of the economy. We lost a ton of money in the construction world. My father bowed out and wanted to kind of start to retire and get out of it. And I had a little baby at home. So I would say 09 was our first full year of doing service. And the driver behind it was we needed to swipe credit cards and make money every day. We couldn't finance big projects or anything anymore because of all the loss. So in 2009, our first full year, two of us running service, one plumber that was more of an installation helper type guy, and my mom still running the books in the office, and one person answering the phone. And we were able to do just over $1 million in that first year.
That is amazing. I love it. I love it. It's like you were born for this stuff.
Necessity, man. I needed to pay bills. I had a little baby at home.
Yes, that's true. And I normally ask, like, hey, what do you think held you back from making your first million, right? And so I think there's even, obviously you did not struggle with that too long, right? But and even like, let's just say somebody with endless money and endless everything and blah, blah, blah. You going to do it in a month?
Never.
No, probably not, right? So it's going to take some time, right? So month 1, month 12, let's talk maybe month 2 or 3. What is one of the things that you knew that you had to pivot in your business in order for you to get where you wanted to be by the end of the year?
So, it's a really interesting question. And I would actually say, you mentioned endless money, endless all this. That might actually even make it a little bit harder. Our position here was my father still owned the company at that time, but he wasn't like working on a daily basis. So we had the office employee, the installer, and then myself and Neil, who's now my partner, running service calls. Well, you had to make a big enough pie in order for you to have a slice that was big enough for you to be able to meet your obligations, right? Yeah. So fortunately for me, I've got a strong back and a weak mind. So you just had to go out and you had to grind. You had to get out of the mindset that somebody's going to call you, and you had to be inventive. Guerrilla marketing, tons and tons of referrals, willing to be there earlier than everybody else, willing to stay later. It was really, really tough. But again, the necessity was we had to make a big enough pie that the slice that I was given was going to be big enough for me to meet my obligations, take care of my wife and kids. So if I wasn't in that position, I don't know that the urge to push and get to that revenue marker would have been there. And the revenue marker wasn't set at, I got to get to $1 million. The revenue marker was set at, my kid needs diapers, my wife's not working, I got to feed my family. So, your why really drives what you're willing to do to get there. It's not hard to do, but you just got to get out of your own way. You got to get after it, and you got to have a really strong reason to go for it, right?
That's true. So you're right. So your why, yeah, I think that's definitely a big part of my success. Was the fire under my butt was so big, it was sink or swim and die, and nobody will find you. You know?
Right. Yeah.
So,
Those are big boy moments, Tony.
you're right.
You know?
And I learned something about myself is that I perform really well under pressure. And then I learned something else is that when it's time to go, you can get in that zone and really like smash it, right? So
Sure.
that takes some self-discipline. I love getting coached. Business coaching is the bomb. You learn a bunch of stuff that you didn't know before. You do that, you get this. It works, you learn from the right people.
Sure.
So you're doing tankless, you're doing sump pumps, right? I'm sure you like those calls because the market calls for it and it's profitable, right? Tankless is a lot more complicated. So tell us a little bit about how you treat the guys and what you do to make sure that that's a profitable job. And also, can you tell us, to piggyback on that, is I know that you're doing 8 million right now and your next goal is to shoot for 12, right? So are you going to add another service? I know you're doing HVAC. Can you shine some light on all this good stuff?
Yeah. So, as you know, I'm a plumber. I'm not an HVAC guy. So by the nature of our business, plumbing, sewer repairs, all of those things have always been a stronger side of our business. And as we brought on HVAC, because of my history and everything, I've always shaded towards the plumbing side. So our HVAC side is much smaller than our plumbing side is, but the opportunity for revenue growth in HVAC is gigantic. So with the big players in our market in Chicago, there's quite a few. You look at the balance of their business, what is driving the bulk of their revenue. Most of them are 70-80% HVAC, primarily in the replacement of units, and then electrical and plumbing as the major trade lines kind of make up the other 20-30% of their revenue. We're like the opposite. So for us, our market share on HVAC is extremely small, whereas it's greater in plumbing. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we have this huge stranglehold on the Chicago plumbing market, because Chicago's gigantic and we don't, but we have enough to drive some pretty good numbers. So to get to the 12 is just continuing to trying to get that HVAC side to level up with the plumbing and the underground. As far as you mentioned, how are you staying profitable with these things? In order to hit your first million, your second, your fifth, your seventh, your eighth, your 100th million, you have to know your numbers. What are you selling it for? What can you sell it for? What's your break even? How long is this job going to take? Where you have to be at in order to be profitable. There's a rough lesson to learn somewhere along the way between owning a job and owning a business. And if you don't take the time up front to know your numbers inside out, know your cost of doing business, know your break evens, know your desired profit margins, you could just be working yourself into a grave. I mentioned earlier, I was up earlier and stayed out later than everybody because I had to. But the first thing I did is figured out how much money I have to sell this for in order to be profitable. So that's really, no matter what you're selling, whether it's a sump pump system or a tankless, we like those because they really are beneficial to our customers. They see an immediate benefit from them, and they're high revenue tickets. But if you're selling them at the wrong price, or you're obstinate to getting a coach, like you said, and having somebody train you on how to develop your selling price, you're not going to make it. So
it sounds like one of my favorite combos, right? The 1-2 hit combo, right? So what do you need to do? Well, you need to educate yourself to call out for the right jobs, right? And so looking at KPIs and trying to call out for what's most profitable. I think I think that the guys will take whatever's coming their way, but when you niche it down, right, and you focus on some jobs that are more profitable and things like that. You mentioned a lot of really cool stuff. To piggyback onto that, like there's some of the plumbing business owners may not have the connections that you may have, right? And some will whine about the resources that they don't have, right? But like everybody knows who Tony Robbins is, right? Anthony Robbins, Tony Robbins. He once said, it's not about the resources that you have, but how resourceful you can be, right? So I wanted to piggyback on that and just show you guys a resource real quick. And if anybody is watching this, a plumbing business owner, and I know there's a lot of plumbing business owners watching this all over the United States. If you need help and you need a resource for business coaching, sales training, website design for plumbers, SEO, pay-per-click, Facebook. This is actually a chat bot that goes on your website and your Yelp. If you're using Yelp, some don't, no big deal. Google guarantee, logo design, virtual dispatch, phone tracking, strategic partnerships is something different you guys don't have to do. Financing, like the plumbers have to be able to offer financing. That's obviously I'm not a bank, but we have a strategic partnerships with banks so that in case plumbers don't know where to go to get financing, that's a big deal, part of the sale, right? Big part of the sale. And then the hiring service, right? Where do you find good help? Plumbers are kind of hard to hire right now. Like, they're good plumbers becoming scarce nowadays. It's kind of crazy, but we've developed something that will help you hire plumbers, and we have that service. So if you go to strictlyplumbers.com and you hover over our services, you can pick over any of these and you can look at the price. On top of that, I do put my prices on here, okay? At that point, you can either call us directly or you can schedule an appointment by clicking on any of these buttons. It should redirect you to a calendar where you can schedule whatever time works best for you. We're wrapping up the week here, so you go into next week, you find something that works best for you. All you do is fill out your information by picking a time that works best for you, so on and so forth. And so for anybody watching this, that's a resource that you may need that you may not have. Maybe there was something on that list that you've been struggling with. Right, so Jason's obviously got it down. He's crushing 8 million, headed to 12, but he's got a lot of these resources, right? And a lot of the plumbers out there just don't. And obviously there's guys all over the USA. You're in, Chicago, Illinois. So Jason, tell us, let's wrap this up with something really fun. Tell us about yourself. What do you spend all this amazing money on? What are your hobbies? What is your personal life looking like? Are you investing into other companies? Are you what are you doing with all this cool money?
So, that's a really fun question. After I was broke for a really long time, like flat broke, like cashing in retirement funds to pay credit card bills and whatever, trying to get this thing going. And now it's going really well. And yeah, you do start to make more money than what you ever thought was possible. A couple things with that. One, you got to take care of your people first. Two, you got to take care of your vendors before yourself. But if you're responsible, the money is there. So then, right, great question. What do you do? When I first started to make a little bit of money, it was like, oh, I want to buy a car. I never thought I'd be able to buy an M car or something. Oh, that's what I want to do. I got to tell you, as I've gotten older, I'm 45 now. The most fun thing to be able to do is to buy, provide, and enjoy experiences with your family. It is, the most rewarding thing possible. Your fancy fast car and all that stuff. And I've had a lot, but the novelty of it wears off in a week or so. Being able to, like my one son's a big hockey player, being able to afford for him to play hockey at the highest level, which is super expensive, tons of travel, right? He's good enough to be there, but good, there's other kids who are good enough maybe as well, but their family can't afford it, right? Building your business. I was able to coach 2 years of high school feeder basketball for my oldest son,
That's
being
awesome.
able to have those experiences, being able to take my daughter shopping and let her get whatever she wants, and how happy she is, and oh daddy, thank you, and being able to provide that. My wife and I are going to San Francisco to watch the final two Dead and Company concerts coming up here in a couple weeks, right? To be able to hop on a plane, go there and enjoy that experience that means so much to my wife, guys, that's really honestly what it's all about. For me, the material things you might think at first, but the novelty wears off quick. Those memories and the experiences that you can enjoy with your loved ones, that's forever. They're burned into your memory. You're never going to forget it, and it's beautiful. So that's always been my why, was to care for my family and provide for them. And the true enjoyment of doing this, the same reason that I get up every morning and come back and do it, is just that. Those experiences are everything. So awesome question. I really enjoyed answering it, Tony.
I think you answered it well. Seriously, I love your answer. I recently went to San Francisco. I took my wife. It was a little bit of business and a little bit of, might as well make a vacation out of it. A little shorty, and because it was just her and I, not the kids, we got to have a romantic getaway. And San Francisco is a romantic city, bro. It was
I've never been.
Oh gosh, let me give you some advice. Go to you got to get on the trolley. And it's like, I don't really like getting on buses and public transportation and but you got to get on the trolley. It's not like something that's cheap or whatever. It's an amazing experience. Jump on their trolley, let them take you up and down the streets. Go to Pier 36, 37, 39. I forget what pier it is. They're going to have like a whole bunch of restaurants and stuff. Another thing I did is you can rent they have these little yellow cars. Little yellow cars are cute little bubbles, and you got this little helmet and you're driving around town. That's cool and cute, but they have this upgraded version, and it's like this roadster convertible. And I rented that, and me and my wife were cruised all over San Francisco in this convertible. We crossed the bridge, got to cross the bridge. That's the bomb, right? Got to take a picture of that too. And the best, like, great food everywhere, fresh seafood everywhere, clam chowder everywhere. I really enjoyed Chinatown for restaurants. Bomb food. I was there like multiple nights just for some good soup.
Awesome.
I was there in the cold time in February. And the reason we were there was we got invited by Yelp. Yelp corporate is there. And the reason we got invited to Yelp corporate was we made it to the top 20 marketing agencies that are partnered with Yelp. And so I learned a whole bunch of cool stuff. We were there for them for 2 days, and they paid for us for hotel and transportation and also food and entertainment and all kinds of cool stuff for a week. Actually paid for a whole week. I was stoked. I didn't expect that, but
that's really cool.
We have a really good partnership, and everybody makes good money, so everybody is happy. I'm not sure if you use Yelp in the Chicago area. Some people hide
a little bit,
right? It's hit or miss, right? Some people use it, some people don't. And so just another form of advertising and getting plumbing jobs, But that's why we were in San Francisco. Me taking my wife was awesome. And of course, my kids are young, so we had to hire a babysitter, and then having that freedom. So it's a little bit of time freedom due to the money. You nailed it. And I think that experience was the bomb. Go to the like an art gallery or something and buy something and send it back home. That way you'll remember Frisco forever.
Yeah. See, and that, Tony, that's really it, right? Like, I'm sure you got a nice car. I'm sure you got a couple of them. I'm sure you got all those things. You just told me for 3 minutes about an experience that your hard work has enabled you to enjoy. The car can't talk back to you. That's great stuff for somebody else to look and go, wow, how great is he? He must be really good at something. But it's not for you. So I appreciate your story. I feel exactly the same way. And look, man, it's a grind. You didn't get invited to Yelp your first year in business either, did you?
No.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Absolutely not. Amazing experience. I love that you touch base on the experience, and that's why I piggybacked on the experience.
Yeah, for sure.
It's definitely life-changing. I love my new life. You know, I was working at ARS Rescue Rooter 5 years ago. Well, I'm happy, bro. You know, things are good. So I love the experience, and I love the experience of hanging out with you and talking to you and getting to know you and your business too. You know?
Yeah, it's been great. I look forward to talking with you again soon.
Awesome, buddy. I'll definitely reach out to you. Been a great podcast. Anything else you want to say before we get out of here, boss?
That's it, guys. The only thing I would leave you with is the trades are special. They're great, and you can provide a great life for yourself and your family. Treat them with care, respect the trade, become excellent at it, know your numbers, and grind, grind, grind.
That's right. That's right. Awesome. All right. Jason from Intelligent Service.
Thank you, Tony. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, sir. You too. See you on the next one. Peace.
Yeah.